Hi, welcome with e-learning classroom biology, and we are going to pick up where we left off. 24.2 fruits and seeds. So our objectives for this is describe the development of seeds and fruits, explain how seeds are dispersed, and list the factors that influence the dormancy and germination of seeds. So in 24.1, to recap a little bit, we got up to the process of seed formation, as far as how gametophytes are formed, and then how pollination occurs, and then how fertilization occurs. So we are now going to pick up the next part of it, and that's going to be fruits and seeds. So first, let's talk about seed and fruit development. As angiosperms seeds mature, ovary walls are going to thicken to form a fruit that encloses the developing seeds. So this fruit that encloses it is going to provide protection as well as a means of transport. Now you have two different types. You have what are a fleshy covering, such as those fruits, usually apples, grapes, tomatoes. Um, these are more of your sweeter types of fruits, and then you also have tough and dry type of coverings. Those usually represented by some sort of peel, such as in bananas and nuts, have a hard shell, and then the actual nut being that seed. Purpose of these is to pretty much protect as well as be able to um, be nutritious for animals to eat and deposit. Dispersal, we want to talk about the two different ways we had covered a little bit as far as pollination and angiosperms, wind, and animals. So first, let's talk about dispersal of those seed. So once you have seed formation, what happens in order to disperse of those seeds so a plant can grow? Uh, the first off, you have like I said, two different types of fruits. Those that are sweet and fleshy, such as apples, grapes, tomatoes, things like that. Those are going to be eaten by the animal and fertilized by feces. So they have the protective covering, which allows it to pass through the digestive system. That's why you see the seeds are kind of hard. That kind of covering of that allows it to pass through the digestive system of an animal and then get deposited in its feces and natural fertilizer, that being manure. Then you also have dry fruits. Now, these not necessarily a little bit different than that of the nuts that we talked about. These are kind of your burrs that you kind of get stuck to your pants as you walk through fields and things like that. And the process of that is they get stuck, and as they get stuck on that um, animal or organism or whatever it gets stuck to, it is going to get dispersed as it falls off, and now it's at a new location and can be start to grow there. So the seed itself, those burrs that hook into your pants or your shirts or your socks mainly, as you walk through a field or something, are seeds that will get dispersed by um, kind of latching on, and then as they fall, that's where they'll be able to grow if they land in soil. You also have dispersal by wind and water. Um, One idea is the wind. Simply the same thing as you have the seed just getting blown away, and that wherever they land, that's where you will have a new plant. So you can see that in dandelions and things like that, where the wind blows and it just blows the seeds and wherever they land. But you also have dispersal of seeds by water. Now, we have to think of dispersal as different than pollination. This is the plant is already uh, pollinated. It's gone through fertilization. Now it needs to disperse those seeds, so therefore it can grow and become a new plant. Does it through animals eating the fruits? Does it by wind? If the seed's light enough, it can blow. And also does it by water. An example of this is a coconut. These are buoyant fruits that pretty much float in water, and they kind of float until they land and they will start to grow. That's why you see a lot of coconut or palm trees in remote islands because they float on the surface of the water, and as they get to the remote islands, that's how they kind of grow and develop palm trees. Dormancy and germination. So these are kind of different periods, or what you would consider kind of life cycles or stages of a seed. The first we want to cover is dormancy, which is a period in which the embryo is alive but not growing. Okay, so the advantage of this is allow for long distance seed dispersal, and also it may sound like a disadvantage, but it allows for ideal conditions. That being the season. Certain plants grow in certain seasons. So once the conditions are ideal, it'll start to grow, and then you have a lot of growth there rather than sprouting right away and trying to survive, say, a harsh winter or a harsh summer or something like that. There is advantages to dormancy. Also, obviously, the longer something's dormant, then the longer it can travel and disperse farther and spread a little bit farther. Germination, the resumption of growth of the plant embryo. So this is the process after dormancy where the plant is going to start to grow. So in order for that to happen, it's going to absorb water, and as it absorbs water, it's going to swell, which is going to crack the seed coat, and that's that kind of starting that process where you get the roots that are going to grow down into the ground first, and then you get what the shoots is going to, or the stem will grow up, and that's pretty much how it starts, and it grows out of there until it's no longer needed. So that was 24.2. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll cover 24.3 in the next recording.